and Instagram. Make una subscribe to our YouTube page and for Star Times on channel 308.
Welcome to Tea Time on Plus TV Africa, where we bring you the biggest entertainment stories and, of course, analyze them for you.
You can have both parents and still end up as a useless child at this.
Seize it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending.
Good to know you're still with us. The police have dispersed a procession of Islamic Movement of Nigeria members around Wuse Market in Abuja. The policemen reportedly fired gas canisters and gunshots into the air, forcing the Shiites and passerbys to scamper for safety. The Shiites planned to hold a nationwide procession on Saturday in commemoration of their annual traditional trek, sparking fears of another confrontation with security operatives. But come to think of it, whatever happened to Shiite leader Ibrahim El-Zakzaky? We have in the studio political analyst Ugochukwu Ikako. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And of course, still from the last session, we have Obi Ejebo, legal practitioner. Thank you very much for staying with us. Okay, they are going on a procession. They were warned not to do so. And of course, we have the issue of their prescription. Should they be embarking on any sort of public movement at this time?
Well, the IG came out a couple of days back to say that the IMM, the shared group, they are free to protest. And according to our constitution, the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I think it's allowed people to protest, to demand for something, to go out and seek for it. Of recent, you've seen a situation where you have to say collect a police report, collect that and that before you go and protest. But people have right to association. People have right to come out and say and demand for something.
Quickly, for the avoidance of doubt, because even when I read it, it was a bit skewed for me. Okay. I couldn't understand it. What is the difference between Shiites and the IMN? Because the IG of police is saying that IMN is the organization that was proscribed. So can you maybe shed a little light on this?
Well, I think both of them are basically the same thing to me. IMM, that's the Islamic Movement of Nigeria, and the Shiite. And I think IMM is the body that houses them together. And in Islam, you have the Sunni, you have the Shiite, which is like the basic the difference between the main Islamic group in Nigeria. You have the Sunni, you have the Shiite. So I think, for me, from my own understanding, from what Mr. Adamu is saying, that's the IG saying, okay, the Shiite as a group, let's say as a Muslim group, are not banned from doing anything. Like they're not banned from protesting and doing anything. And we've seen that the IMM, a lot of them are part of Shiite members. So I think that's just the difference. That's what a lot of people don't get, especially in Nigeria, where not all Muslims in the country belong to one group. The same way you have different groups in the Christianity, you have these people belong to this particular sect in Pentecostal movement, so that is just the difference between the both of them.
Let's bring Obi in. Your thoughts from the legal perspective. They are prescribed, and there's this terminology difference: Shiites and IMM. We always refer to them as IMM, also known as Shiites. So, what's the distinction in your opinion?
Shiite is a religious group. If they prescribe Shiite, if they prescribe Shiite, what they're saying is the other sect of Islam is banned, which should be more volatile. But if they prescribe the body, the umbrella which they're using to make cause trouble, to make demands, then that is understandable. It's an NGO, it's a group that the government is finding. So they are trying to avoid the religious tag, toga on it. That's my take.
Okay, now that we've cleared that up, do you have any concerns about the police using tear gas and what else, canisters to disperse them? Maybe wouldn't it have been better to use maybe water cannons or stuff?
Is that for me?
Yes.
Well, I think Nigerian police, they've proven themselves over a long period of time not to understand how things are supposed to work. in a civilized setting, especially in the democracy in 2019, in the 21st century. So I'm not surprised that they will go all out to use tear gas and, and sometimes you see them brandishing their weapons, which are supposed to use in a war front, right? I don't understand why you're using an AK-47 in front of a private citizen that just want to demand for things to be better and just to ask questions as an active citizen. So it doesn't make sense. But the truth is that we keep saying this all the time, but our police institutions are not trying to understand that this is not acceptable across the world. This is not acceptable. We've seen protesters across the world, from Hong Kong, currently in Lebanon, and the rest of them. People are free to protest, all right? Sometimes even the police in different parts of the world are there to make sure that the people that are protesting have peace, that they behave themselves very, very well. They're not there to inflict pain on them, to use tear gas to disperse them, because at the moment these people are not doing anything. They're not constituting harm to anybody. They're not constituting harm. They're not constituting bodily harm, or they're not trying to offend or do anything that the state does not allow. So I think it's just sad that we have a police that doesn't understand that protest is part of democracy, and protest should be allowed in a democratic setting. So our police think that anybody that wants to protest in a civilian state like this wants to overthrow the government, and I think that is sad, and that is it shows that the 19 years progress we've made in democracy, that democratic culture has not eaten deep, has not gone deep into the police system and the people that control the affair over there.
Well, to be fair on the part of the police, they did issue a warning that procession should not hold, right? But you're saying there should have been a better approach. Now, the group says they're going to go on a procession. Tomorrow is the D-Day. It's going to be like nationwide on Saturday. Do you see the police being able to disperse this crowd like they did the Abuja case? Because this is going to be across the country.
First of all, the police does not have the manpower. They can only handle select places. But can we look at the other side of the coin? What if these people come on process and the police work side by side with them and allows them have a peaceful procession? Will they still have that same gusto to vent and to cause mayhem? The police will be there escorting them and just protecting them. Do you understand?
That would make a whole lot of sense, really. Do you have any objection to that?
See, like I always say when I come here, I hope it's not a strategy. And I've been in this country for the last how many years, and this is my home, this is my country, this is my city. So if the Nigerian police that I'm used to, the ones that I understand, the ones that I read about on the internet, they are not the ones that will give you that privilege. And it's sad because we say it here. Over the week, we saw a story that the guy that was shot, the police, wherever, say that not the people that did nothing wrong. So it's these same police. Remember that the last time they had a clash in Abuja, all right, someone died, and that's when they killed sadly an officer died, and the young reporter from Channels TV passed as well. So it's just sad because at the end of the day, I don't think that our police that they understand our 21st century how to manage crises like this or issues like this. Everything is not force. Everything is not fighting that you're trying to do things. No, that is not how you do things. And also, most importantly, we're having this issue again. We keep talking about this child movement being proscribed, their possession and the rest of them, because we have an administration in Abuja, in Asoro, Collington, that don't understand respect for the rule of law. But if things have been done rightly as it's supposed to have been done over a long period of time, we won't be having these issues.
But a court has issued a ruling that this IMN has been prescribed. Let's look at it from another angle. Should they be issuing statements? Because the president of the media forum of the IMN is insisting that they are going to have that procession tomorrow, in spite of the police saying, do not go on that procession. He's also saying, dispelling rather, concerns that the protest is going to turn violent. Should he be making statements at this time, considering that they are a proscribed group?
It's obvious that they want a showdown. It's in their best interest to have a showdown, to portray the government in bad light. And that's what they intend doing. And the proscribed group, what they should have done is to go to court and tackle the validity of that proscription. And then if they can if they can dispel it, then they'll go on. but let's wait and see what happens.
One quick argument that they present is that in all the cases that the federal government has prosecuted against them, most of them, the major cases, have been dismissed by the court. Isn't that some sort of evidence that something is not right?
In addition to what she said, the thing is this: what the spokesperson is saying, the spokesperson of IAM is saying, is uncalled for. It's not acceptable. Right? You can't just come out openly to threaten violence or mayhem on the people because you feel that you have a right.
No, he is dispelling fears that the procession is going to turn violent. He says it's an annual procession that they hold. But so he doesn't want people to...
Like we said earlier, you see, IMN, the Islamic movement in Nigeria, has been proscribed. That is what the law says, all right? And I have to make a distinction between the Shiite and the Sunni, all right? And that's what she said, that the reason why government cannot do that, because if you do that, you're trying to create a religious conflict and a religious tension between both sides of the Islamic faith in the country. So what they are trying to do is to say, okay, the leadership, the people that are in charge of these people as a group, all right, what you guys have done so far, we're not cool with it, all right? So because of that, we've prescribed it. So if IMM is trying to lead that movement tomorrow, that protest tomorrow, it's not a good one. It does not go well for them because already they as a group has been prescribed, all right? So, and the thing is this, why in a court, whether if the government is wrong or right, the only people that have the right to settle everything is a competent court of jurisdiction. So what you do is to go back to a court and ask the court to quash that prescription. So, and if the court hasn't done that, if Shiite members decide on their own that they want to go and protest, I think that is lawful and that is in order because the court has not prescribed them. It's very trickish, but that is what it is at the moment. Because if the court says don't do this, there is a standing order that says don't do this, all right? And if you're going out against a court order to do so, I think it's in the contempt of the court. And it doesn't all go well for you because
wouldn't it be wise for them to do their procession as Shiites? Because if they go ahead to do it as IMN, and that's what the IG is saying, that they do not recognize the government of Nigeria. So that would be an act of terrorism on their part. So wouldn't they be wise to go as a group of Shiites commemorating an annual event?
A group of Shiites. When you look at these Shiites, you could see that they're so together. They are not just any group that anybody will take for granted. They are together. You see, they wear uniforms and they're so together. So I understand what the IG is saying, but how do you now say, okay, I am a Shiite, I'm not IMNL, when it's the same bunch of people?
That's what I'm asking. Couldn't they just so that they can do what they need to do if they know that it's not going to be violent?
The Shiites movement, I don't know if Shiites have the movement. Except if they have a banner and say Shiites movement of Nigeria or whatever.
I think the whole thing started because of the issue with El-Zakzaky. All right, he is the leader of IMN in Nigeria with the wife and every other people that work with him in terms of the organizational structure. So I think what the state is saying, that's Nigeria, all right? I'm not trying to play the devil's advocate, but what we're saying is that the state is saying that IMM, the leadership, all right, will have an issue with them because of they don't recognize Nigeria and the rest of that. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me, all right? But because of the fact that the state has gone to court and got a prosecution order against these people, we'll still have to respect that. And if IMM has an issue with it, what they should do is to still go back, maybe at a high court or an appeal court, a Supreme Court, whatever, to quash that ruling, right? Because you don't fight fire with fire. It don't do that anywhere. So if there is an issue and you feel that the government is taking for granted, what the government has done is against you, is against your fundamental human right to worship, to do things that you're supposed to do, to association and the rest of them. What you should do is not to go and fight government one-on-one, because in doing that, people die. In doing that, people get hurt. We've seen that happen the last time, all right? You saw a young couple that just finished that was serving, lost his life because of this same issue. Saw a policeman that lost his life. So it doesn't help anybody, right? Like you said, if anything happens, they play to their own advantage. Right? It shows that this government doesn't respect the sanctity of human life and the rest of them. But also, all right, sometimes you need to understand that at the end of the day, for me, I strongly believe in democracy. Negotiation and dialogue is key. And at this point, if Shiite member as a group, they have not been proscribed, so they have liberty to go across the country to say this is our issues, these are the things that we want people the world to hear. That is in order. But for the IMM as a group, that the leadership structure, I think that is where the issue is. If the state is saying we don't don't want you to be part of this, don't want you to do this thing, then go to a court.
Talking about leadership issue, before we wrap up this conversation, the El-Zakzaky situation, there was a time, the whole thing we heard in the news was he's almost dying, he has lead in his system, and he has to go to hospital. Now, that movement was facilitated after a lot of public outcry and sympathy, went, and then he is back. Since then, we've not heard much about him. What is your take? Whatever happened with the leader? Now the call has reverted to free El-Zakzaky and everyone that is being held captive. No longer his health situation. We did not hear that he has gone back to the hospital and he is better now.
Is that for me?
Yes.
Well, it was all from what we have seen. It was all a charade. Maybe the trip did not work out the way he intended it to be. So he's back. That card has been played, and it was won. Because if he was really sick, he would go for treatment, and he sees that his doctor flies with him, and his doctor is there. So if he was really sick. And on the other hand, you know, when somebody is in detention, the best way to get the person out of detention is to fly a card that the person is almost at the point of death.
Your quick thoughts.
Well, for me, I think I disagree. I don't want to call it a charade or anything else. We've seen so far, all right, under this administration for the last 4 years, we've seen Abiri Jones, the journalist that has been held, the DSS has held him for years. We've seen what has happened with Sowore. We've seen what has happened with the other guys that have been held in captive across the country because they're asking for one or two things, which is in accordance with the Constitution. So my issue is this, that he is held where people don't get to see him. Right? He doesn't have access to people who can't go and see him, because at the end of this, somebody from the DSS or from the Ministry of Information can come and tell us, like Lai Mohammed will come and lie to us and tell us that this guy is fine, whereas something different might be happening to him.
No, I don't get your argument, to be honest. We're out of time.
My argument is that we don't know what is happening to this guy, and because he's sick, and because the court has said free him, and state has held him in contempt of the court.
It's not about freeing him now. I'm asking about his health situation.
Because we don't know, because there's no information. Who is feeding us?
He has a lawyer.
And nobody has been said. The same lawyer
should be able to talk.
Femi Falana that so far has not been able to get what's his name, Sowore, out of the state custody, that the state denied receiving the letter from the court. So we need to understand that to an extent. Yeah, even the fact that I understand this is beyond politics, and so we're dealing with people that don't understand the sanctity of human life and do not respect the Constitution. So in issues like this, I would rather stand with the Abiri Jones, the Sowore, and the El-Zakzaky till they learn how to respect what court said and free these guys.
Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. Always a delight to have you.
Thank you for having us.
All right, and thank you for staying with us. But we're not done yet. We'll just go on a short break for our Plus package, and when we return, I'll give you my take. Please stay with us.
The People's Democratic Party in Akwa Ibom State has debunked reports in some sections of the media suggesting that Governor Udom Emmanuel and the PDP have adopted a certain aspirant for the 2023 governorship election. The state publicity secretary of the party, Barrister Ini Ememo Bong, presented the party's position at a press conference in Uyo, the state capital.
Our attention as a party has been attracted by various articles online and in traditional media suggesting that the Governor Udom Emmanuel and the party headed by Obon Poleko has either adopted, endorsed, encouraged, or prefers an aspirant in the build-up to the 2023 governorship elections. We wish to state for the records that as a party, the discussion of 2023 is still very unripe and immature at this moment, as the second term of the Governor Udom Emmanuel administration is yet to even reach a year. We urge those trying to stimulate the commencement of the 2023 cycle to instead channel their energies in collaborating with the current administration in the attainment of its completion agenda. To our jurisprudence.
To be honest, I welcome any move, any effort to rebrand the Nigerian image. And EFCC saying it is committed to rehabilitating Yahoo boys, the guys that engage in internet fraud as we know them, if not just another comment meant to distract or a surge growing concerns among Nigerians is most welcome, in my opinion. As with everything Nigeria, though, I worry as to the will to see it through and how well thought out for the long-term plans would be. I would much rather the government take the chunk of the responsibility for this one, though there are more issues to be addressed that would be fundamental to a comprehensive rehabilitation, and these lies squarely at the feet of the government. Among them is to create the right economic environment for young people to thrive and explore their creativity in a good way, one that is complementary to the nation's battered image. Whatever strategy we choose to adopt, the fact remains that money and material things for most youths are very necessary motivation for doing many things, good or bad. Let's encourage them to do good. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again on Monday. Have a lovely weekend. Please, if we
that money will shoot every person that we know can shoot. We don't let people die there.
You could have killed me for a long period of time.
At that time, why I carry gonorrhea? I first go hospital first, but it no go. Now I come make that mama.
She just pulled it, he pointed, and shot.
They suffer too much. They suffer too much.
Issues around the Nigerian police, we have to tackle it holistically.
On this episode, we are one-on-one with an elder statesman, an accomplished engineer, broadcaster, pastor, and a former Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority. The cost of running this government is really high.
Yes.
Is there anything that can be done right now to salvage the situation?
You want to cut perhaps the salary of the senators and people in the National Assembly. But then when you consider that you have 36 governors, you have state houses of assembly, it is quite a challenge. The Shure case, I think, is a bit touchy. I think once the court has made a pronouncement, we should abide by the rule of law. The sex for grade, which has now gone into the universities and all that, I think something has gone wrong all round, including the churches.
Premiering this Monday at 12:30 p.m. and repeat broadcast at 8:30 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
Welcome to Tea Time on Plus TV Africa, where we bring you the biggest entertainment stories and, of course, analyze them for you.
You can have both parents and still end up as a useless child. I see them every day.
Most times I worry more about where I'm coming from and where I am now. And that determines my next step.
Why are you sounding like
Alibaba
now?
Across TV Africa, we're feeling good. No time to dull, everybody feeling alright.
I really like you. I can still make music and people are still buying. Sometimes I look myself minimal IU.
Akpala music is for mature-minded people. I got DMs sometimes from Malawi, like,
Sleeping early.
Hear the stories making the headlines.
Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria.
I'm here at Eunice Bashorin Street.
fire destroyed our transformer complete as well.
The lowest level you can.
This is Plus TV Africa. The big stories live here.
Big stories live here.
Big stories live here.
I think it's very important because most people don't know what people go through. You know, celebrities will always try to put up this strong front. People see us like, oh, I look up to them. They don't cry, they don't suffer, they don't go through depression, they don't have any problems. So for me, as a person, I always like to share my experience with people because I want them to learn from how I've used those experiences to become a better person.
Oftentimes when we see celebrities either on social media, television, or in person, we assume they have it all together, but we forget that they're also human. Well, here are some of the low points of some of your favorite celebrities.
That's very easy. I'll just share one. That's very easy. See, guys, a lot of people see me now slaying and doing a lot of things. They're like, Brian, because see, if you fine boy now, you know as be now. You got it easy, or you know, things better when you date. But it's not always like. Let me tell you guys something, man, guys. My first 2 years, as anything, as a model, as an entertainer, as an actor, I didn't get one job. I'm not talking about 2 weeks. I'm not talking about 3 months. I'm not talking about one. I'm not talking about 6 months. I'm talking about 2 years. So 2 years I was sitting at home. Not like I wasn't working, not like I wasn't going for castings, not like I wasn't doing whatever others were doing. I didn't get anything, guys. So put that to what you're going through now. You get, because some people get out of school and they're like, I've not made it, man. It's been like 6 months, man. Nothing happened. Bye-bye. 2 years. But here we are. So what I'm trying to say is that everybody has their own timeline. Everybody has their own story. So don't use that to say, don't be looking at somebody else's success and say, because it happened to Rami once, happened to me in 1 week. Bye-bye, no.
Nobody knows I went through the hardship of life and I went through my ups and downs, and I just had only one person who was actually there for me, which was my mom anyways. So I had a rocky university days. I think people don't know that. I actually went to 3 universities and ended up finishing in one shot.
I drove into a filling station and I was meant to get fuel, 4,000. Do you understand? Probably the guy that was selling, he used to be my fan when I was working, in the radio as a presenter. Like, oh, Baba, now you Casey Brown, Baba, Baba. He got confused. He gave me full tank instead of 4,000. Do you understand? So, and then I don't have up to that amount to fix it up because in real, I don't get up. All I have with me is 4,000 naira for the fuel and 8,000 naira to buy a fuel cleanser to put in my car. And the guy, so I bought the fuel. I told him, okay, fine. I'll bring you 8,600 because he was begging me, God go sack me, it's not my fault. I said, okay, fine, I'll bring you 8,600. Bro, I got so busy. I forgot about even giving the guy 8,600. The guy went straight to my Facebook and was like, stop living a fake life. You came to our filling station, you came to buy fuel for credit, they don't want to pay, come and pay me my money, blah, 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 stop faking a fake, stop. I was like, this same dude that was begging me, my boss will sack me, is my fault. And I was like, I will pay. I entered my car. As soon as I saw that thing, I zoomed straight to the station. They said the guy has been fired. The manager there was begging me. They called the guy in Ikorodu. He went straight and dropped that post himself. I didn't do it. And and the manager said, for this, because I told the guy, I said, one article online about this filling station will cost you guys a bad reputation. They said they will not pay him his balance, a salary that they're supposed to give to him. But I end up pleading for him. Do you understand? So that is what we get every now and then.
I've worked over 12 jobs in my life. Wow. Yeah, I cleaned the lavatory on the plane.
Have you said that anywhere else?
I think on Big Brother I did.
Oh, okay.
I was like, stop telling them all those things. I'm like, it's part of my journey. You know, it just reminds me of where I came from. You know, I wasn't born with a silver spoon, but of course my parents were comfortable growing up. But I had to work hard. You know, I had to work hard. So being where I am today, I always think about what I did back in the day, how far.
I was so broke because I had nothing. I took nothing from home. That I had to walk from Shomolu to Surulere every day for a year and a half. I had no money. I could barely afford one meal a day. My job at that point, even after graduating from university, was distributing flyers on the streets of Lagos. What that taught me about myself was that I had a never say die attitude, and I have the strength and resilience to face any circumstance. I came out of that stronger. Like sometimes I look back now and I realize if I could have survived that time, then really there are only a few challenges that will come to me or come my way that I wouldn't be able to survive. And with that kind of confidence, I think everybody, you know, when you figure out what it is about you that is special, with that confidence, you can surmount almost every issue that comes your way.
This Medan has been directed to empower 1,000 persons with disabilities in each state in the next 12 months.
When I start hearing the shoot of guns,
whatever I've done.
Every public policy has winners and losers, and some will not be very happy with you, while others, usually the silent majority, will be quite happy.
On Plus TV Africa News at this hour, Kogi Deputy Governor Simon Achuba impeached by members of the State House of Assembly. Sudanese government rebel group agree on agendas for peace talks aimed at ending political crisis. And on the foreign scene, Mexico's president defends freeing drug kingpin Joaquin El Chapo Guzman's son after arrest. Many thanks for joining us on News on the Hour on Plus TV Africa. Here are stories making the headlines. President Muhammadu Buhari on Friday received the report of the Presidential Advisory Committee for the Elimination of Drug Abuse at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. The advisory committee, which was constituted by the president on December 11, 2018, is chaired by former military administrator of Lagos State, retired Brigadier General Buba Marwa. Other members of the committee included the wives of the president and the vice president. The committee is saddled with the responsibility of working towards reducing the level of drug abuse in the country. Marwa had in January, during an official visit to the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Musa Bello, disclosed that over 14 million people in the country were actively abusing drugs. And to one of our headline stories, the Kogi State House of Assembly has impeached the embattled Deputy Governor Simon Achuba. His impeachment followed the submission earlier in the day of the report of the committee set up by the State Chief Judge, Justice Nadi Ajana, to investigate an allegation of gross misconduct against the former deputy governor. Leader of the House, Hassan Bello Abdullahi, representing Ajaokuta State constituency, who announced the decision of the House, said Achuba stands impeached after careful consideration of the report of John Bayeshe Committee submitted earlier on Friday. He said the report was received, studied and deliberated upon, and a unanimous decision was arrived at to impeach Achuba, and he therefore stands impeached. The 7-man committee, headed by John Bayeshe, submitted the report to the Speaker, Kogi State House of Assembly, Matthew Kolawole, on Friday in a brief ceremony, after which the House went into a closed-door session where the report was considered and deliberated upon. The committee was set up in August following allegations of gross misconduct leveled against the deputy governor when he accused Governor Yahaya Bello of withholding his salaries and interest since 2017, an allegation denied by the government during hearing by the committee. Joining me in the studio to discuss this development is a political analyst, Ugochukwu Ikako. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Now, it's becoming common occurrence for governors and their deputies to have this dispute. What is your take? What's going on, really?
I think for what has happened in Kogi State thus far is sad, and I think it's a mockery of a democratic process. And for me, the legislature doesn't understand what it's there to do, right? Not to add as the best man to the governor. And what we've seen so far is this is an issue that started between the governor and the deputy governor, and it started with the deputy governor that has been pitched, saying that I've not been receiving my arrears, the things that I'm entitled to as a deputy governor, and that was the genesis of the issue. That was when we saw this issue first. It was everywhere on television. It was there on the radio, and I saw it in press and every day. So for me, what we've seen here, at the end of the day, they say they're impeaching for gross misconduct, and I've gone through all the top national dailies in the country. Nobody has come out to say this is it. So they just penciled everything down to gross misconduct just to kick him away, because this same guy has complained of financial misappropriation on the governor's part and his life being threatened and the rest of them. So you have a legislation that is in Kogi State that has virtually done nothing to improve that state in terms of governance and the rest of them. Kogi State is drowning in debt portfolio. Kogi State, in terms of their education and their health, the health sector in that state is collapsing. The education system is collapsing. Rather, the legislation that's supposed to make laws, that will attract investors, that's supposed to make laws that will make sure that they will checkmate the governor so that the government perform his actual duties, are busy acting as his best friend. So for me, what we're seeing is not democracy in action. It's just people that don't understand their basic duties as elected representatives, and the governor himself that has proven to be a monumental failure thus far.
But does it worry you, really, that this impeachment went ahead, considering the fact that it's just a few weeks to the end of this administration and then a new person is going to come in? Are they going to bring in a new deputy governor at this time, considering the time frame?
Well, I'm worried. Because it makes a mockery of our democratic process. It makes a mockery of actual governance itself, all right? Because the deputy governor that was impeached and Yahaya Bello, they've not been on the same pedestal. They've not worked together as one, as an indivisible entity.
But are you seeing a new deputy being brought in at this late stage?
The law gives room for that to happen. So I feel that what is going to happen is that Yahaya Bello and the legislature, they'll just find somebody that will be obedient, that will just be there to be a perfect yes man for the governor and to just be his wingman till the tenure is over. But for me, I'm looking at the whole process, how fast this was, how fast they intervened to make sure that this guy was impeached. We've not seen that kind of speed. We've not seen that kind of momentum in terms of fixing issues in Kogi State. But when it comes to settling a score between the governor and the deputy governor, they were fast, because you know what they are doing there? They're just there to rubber stamp whatever the governor is saying. So for me, it's sad, and for me, it's a sad development. And no matter what anybody thinks about it, because thus far, the deputy governor with Yahaya Bello, when he was there, when the deputy governor was there with Yahaya Bello, we've not seen actual governors. We've not seen they've been there first term over and they doing their second term, right? And we've not seen this thing translate to improving the lives of the people in Kogi State. So for me, it is sad. And why it's sad is because if this legislature have done half of the job they've done now in trying to do their job over the last 4 years and the last 8 years or so, Kogi State will be maybe a better state.
I guess we have to leave it there. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
The police on Friday dispersed a procession of Islamic Movement of Nigeria members around Wuse Market in Abuja. The policemen reportedly fired tear gas canisters and gunshots in the air, forcing the Shiites and passerbys to scamper for safety. The IMN procession, which started on Sultan Abubakar Road, abruptly ended after the police action. The Shiites plan to hold a nationwide procession on Saturday in commemoration of their annual festival trek, sparking fears of another confrontation with security operatives. The ceremony is a Shiite annual religious practice usually conducted on the 20th Safar of Islamic calendar to mark the 40th day of the murder of Imam Hussein, the grandson of Prophet Muhammad, who was killed on 10th Muharram. The troops of the Nigerian army attached to the Joint Tactical Team have arrested an Islamic State of West Africa province logistics supplier and courier, Usman Yage, in the Kubio area of Borno State during an operation. The army said preliminary investigations revealed that Yage, who is Chadian, has been linked and maintained communication with 3 ISWAP commanders identified as Goni Jere, Abu Kaka, and Modu Sulum. According to a release by the Army Operations Media Coordinator, Colonel Aminu Iliyasu, the troops also arrested a Boko Haram insurgent logistics supplier identified as Al-Haji Lawan with an alias at Maina Hari area. The military noted that all the suspects were making useful confessions to interrogators. Iliyasu said troops deployed at Gubio successfully repelled a Boko Haram attack on their location and neutralized 1 Boko Haram criminal, recovered 1 AK-47 rifle, 1 magazine, 1 very high-frequency radio, and 1 mobile phone, in addition to syringes and injections during a mop-up operation. Still the police. They've busted another rehabilitation center on Monday, October 14, in Dauda, Katsina State, where inmates are subjected to inhuman treatment. The owner of the center and 2 others were arrested. The Katsina Police Commander on Friday said all the 67 inmates discovered at the Dauda Rehabilitation Center, as well as those found at the Niga Rehabilitation and Reformation Center, Kofa Dobby Quarters, Katsina, have been reunited with their families. The spokesman for the command, SP Gabon Issa, made the clarification following inquiries on the fate of the inmates. Investigation at the Dauda and the Katsina rehabilitation centers also showed a dearth of activities there. The House of Representatives Committee on Power on Friday queried the 2019 budget performance of the National Electricity Management Service Agency, NEMSA, and temporarily withheld discussion on the agency's 2020 budget. However, the chairman of the committee, Representative Magaji Aliyu, APC Jigawa, gave NEMSA 8 hours to make necessary corrections in the budget and reappear before it at 7:30 p.m. This followed a unanimous adoption of a motion by Representative Wale Raji, APC Lagos, at the budget defense session of the committee. The chairman noted that the agency's 2020 budget was laden with errors and as good as a copy and paste document. He frowned at the overhead items, which he noted were listed as capital expenditure items in the budget. Peter Eweso, the managing director of NEMSA, apologized for the errors and promised to correct them and reappear before the committee. Still in the news, social media activist Segun Awosonya, popularly known as Shegelink, has rejected the advice of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, to write a petition against the All Progressive Congress leader Bola Tinubu. Shegelink, who is the leader of the EndSARS movement, said the EFCC did not need him to write a petition against Tinubu before going after the APC leader. The activist claimed EFCC had been going after internet fraudsters and raiding nightclubs without a petition. He tweeted, "The EFCC, in their primitive chest-thumping about Section 7, subsection 1 of the Establishment Act of 2004, forgot that they have the same power over the likes of Tinubu as they do over alleged Yahoo boys to act based on probable cause. Why expect a petition from us?" The EFCC and Shegelink had been engaged in a war of words on Thursday after the EFCC boasted on Twitter that it had the power to investigate anybody living above his means. The activists subsequently dared the commission to probe Tinubu. The recurrent rainfall in Lagos State has left many roads and neighborhoods flooded as a result of blocked drainages across the state. Irene Ubani was out on the streets earlier and files in this report.
In the past weeks, Lagos has experienced recurrent rainfall, causing a high level of inconvenience for commuters within the state.
Money DVI, they're not going to even carry money from pocket, say me they do or me they do gutter. We don't get gutter for here.
It's not today. Since 1999, year 2000, VI always be a waterlord because everything comes from the government. They will come, they will do contracts, and we will not see the usefulness. All the old drainage is blocked. They want to be doing contract 15 times in a year. So what we've been experiencing here, if God is not saving our life, maybe one day VI is going to crack.
Anytime rain fall like this, people are not okay. Even the people are inside the vehicle, they find it difficult to move. Because of the flooding, it caused hold up, caused traffic on the road.
Residents in Lagos State were also not left out.
So gbogbo ibẹ̀ wa gbogbo nulẹ̀ wa kún gbogbo ìta wa kún gbogbo nǹkan tá ti ṣe lọ́jọ́ Saturday tamata Sunday Monday gbogbo ẹ̀ ló ti bàjẹ́ kalẹ̀ àwọn búrẹ́dì gan ti gbogbo ẹ̀ ti wà nínú omi àti ọjọ́ Saturday títí di èní yìí sin àti ìgẹ́ta la wà torí omi.
When the rain fell, the erosion come into my house and it almost carried my children away. So I rushed to my children. I carry one at my back. I owed that my girl.
Anytime this rain fall, everywhere is full. Even though anywhere can't sleep, anybody can't sleep inside the house, in whole house, because rain they enter the house. You understand? So everybody they pack go out.
A food for thought, however, with this reoccurrence of flooding within the Victoria Island region and the island in general here in Lagos, can Lagos State withstand one full day of constant rainfall or 1 week of constant rainfall? What would be the fate of Lagos State if issues of this nature are not being resolved? For Plus TV Africa, Irene Ubani.
Thank you, Irene. The Mandela Washington Fellowship, a flagship program of the Young African Leaders Initiative, YALI, and former United States President Barack Obama, has trained almost 4,000 young Africans since 2014 in academic coursework and leadership skills. The fellowship held an event in honor of the alumni of the 2019 edition. Our correspondent at Debanke Odunuyi was there.
According to the African Union, Africa has the youngest population in the world with more than 400 million people between the ages of 15 and 35. Such a large number of people, if properly educated, hold the capacity to revolutionize the African continent. In order to achieve this, the Mandela Washington Fellowship, a flagship program of the Young African Leaders Initiative, YALI, which was created in 2014 by the Barack Obama administration, trains Africans in academic coursework and leadership skills. An alumni event was held in order to educate the 2019 fellows.
The Mandela Washington Fellowship was designed by President Obama in 2014 to motivate, build young leaders, people who have demonstrated a proven track record of leadership across their court. It was inspired by President Obama as a way of giving back to the African community. And we're having this program today, the reunion conference, as a way to inspire, to welcome back those who were part of the 2019 cohort and kind of reintegrate them back into their society.
Fellows of the 2019 edition revealed what inspired them to apply for the fellowship opportunity last year.
I saw it as a platform
that could help me develop capacity to impact the country, to impact my generation.
I applied for the Mandela Washington Fellowship because I wanted to expand my network of learning to understand the current infrastructures that has been used in creating accessibility for persons with disabilities.
Insight on how the African youth could be better equipped for leadership roles was given by one of the alumni fellows.
Equipping our youth in Nigeria is actually two ways. The person also needs to want to be equipped, you understand? And then the government also has a role to play to create enabling space for the youth to thrive.
Adekpeju Jayoba, a 2014 fellow and winner of the 2019 Leadership Impact Award, gave advice to young Nigerians and also testified of the opportunities given to her due to the initiative.
I would say that, yes, talent is universal, but opportunity is not. But however, you can find opportunities through diligence. You can check online, Google. I mean, Mandela Washington Fellowship is always open every year. There are a couple of other fellowships that are also annual like that. And it's not a function of whether you have funds or not. The key is starting now with what you have. The MWF since 2014 has offered me incredible platform to be able to expand to other parts of Nigeria with the work that we do, to be able to semi-automate our processes, to be able to even walk into other platforms because of the credibility that the US government, has put in us by investing in us. So it's a growth platform, it's a connection platform, it's a huge networking platform.
The youth have been regarded as the hope of our fatherland. More efforts are therefore needed into properly educating our youth and preparing them for the responsibilities ahead of them. Reporting for Plus TV Africa, Adebanke Odunuyi.
Still ahead on Plus TV Africa News. Protests paralyze Catalonia as fugitive ex-leader hands himself in. These and more when we return. You're watching News on the Hour on Plus TV Africa. The Sudanese government and a key rebel group have agreed on agendas for peace talks aimed at ending the country's deep political crisis. Peace talks between the government and the Sudan People's Liberation Movement North SPLMN faction, led by General Abdulaziz Al-Hilu, a rebel group in Blue Nile and South Kordofan states, resumed this morning after they were suspended on Wednesday. In a press conference in Juba this afternoon, spokesman of the SPLMN negotiating team, Mahmoud Ahmed Al-Jak, said in the first direct engagement between both sides, they categorized the agenda of peace negotiations. Al-Jak revealed that the parties will discuss the declaration of principles on Saturday, saying the position papers to be discussed tomorrow would be the basis of the negotiations. Algerian Member of Parliament Baha Eddine Tliba has been detained. The businesswoman was remanded in custody on Thursday over money laundering and secretly financing political parties. According to the official APS news agency, Tliba is facing prosecution for illegally financing the electoral campaign of former President Abdulaziz Bouteflika. Tliba, a member of the former president's National Liberation Front party, had his parliamentary immunity lifted on September 25 at the request of the Justice Minister. He is one of the last victims of an Algerian judicial hunt for powerful businessmen close to Bouteflika since his resignation in April. Most of them are suspected of having taken advantage of their ties with the former president or his entourage to obtain benefits or public contracts. Now, an increasing number of women and girls from Ivory Coast are being trafficked to Northern Africa and Europe, the International Organization for Migration has warned on Friday. Anti-trafficking teams have noted a rise in the numbers making the Mediterranean crossing, along with a rise in pleas for help at landing points in Italy, IOM said in a note to mark European Anti-Trafficking Day. The women and girls are often detained for life of slavery or prostitution, said Lawrence Hutt, head of the Mediterranean Coordination Office. He said many are recruited in their country with the promise of being given employment as maids or waitresses and become instant victims of domestic servitude upon arriving in Tunisia or Libya. There, they are subjected to sexual abuse, mistreatment, violence, and deprivation of personal freedom. Up next is our foreign news. A fifth day of protest and a general strike have brought Barcelona to a halt amid ongoing fury over jailed Catalan separatist leaders. Tens of thousands of demonstrators entered the city on Friday, stopping trains and blocking roads. Barcelona and Real Madrid football teams postponed a match they were due to play on October 26. The famous rivals had been set to meet in El Clásico, a hugely popular clash due to be held at Barcelona's stadium. And Barcelona's Sagrada Familia Church, one of the city's main tourist attractions, was shut down after protesters blocked its entrance. In a statement posted on its official Twitter account, the church said a group of protesters was standing at the entrance and interfering with access to the interior. We'll bring you business news after this break.
Honey!
Daddy, please, can I go out with you and Mommy tonight?
Sure thing, sweetie. Get your shoes and we go.
Promise?
You have my word?
Daddy!
You know I wouldn't leave without you, my princess.
There's nothing more important than a promise. We are Fidelity. We keep our word.
And in business, the managing director of the International Monetary Fund, Ms. Kristalina Georgieva, has said there is a need for the federal government to diversify the economy to reduce the level of economic vulnerabilities facing the country. Georgieva explained that the level of economic growth in the country was too slow to reduce its poverty rate. She emphasized that Nigeria's importance in the economic growth of Africa, adding that this was why it had consistently advised for a major improvement in the fiscal space in relation to revenue, economic diversification and corruption. According to her, the IMF had been consistent to talk about three issues in Nigeria. One is the question of fiscal capacity, stating that the tax collection levels in Nigeria leaves quite a lot of room for improvement, and without strengthening the fiscal position of the government, the expenditure side would suffer. She said the IMF had always recommended an increase in tax revenue to GDP to 15%, adding that at this level, the government would be able to finance its programs. And moving on, Professor Naku Quaynor, regarded as the father of the internet in Africa, has criticized the introduction of the communication service tax in Ghana and has asked the government to reconsider the decision. In his opinion, taxing the internet would erode gains made in extending internet penetration in Ghana, which is a key developmental tool. The communication service tax was introduced in 2008 with the tax absorbed by the telecommunications operators. However, 11 years later, Ken Ofori-Atta, the finance minister in the supplementary budget to Parliament, announced an increase from 6% to 9%, but the telcos have subsequently passed on the cost to consumers. But Professor Quaynor, like other industry players, argued that access to internet should be free. According to him, the internet is so pervasive in so many areas and profit shouldn't be made out of it. In his opinion,
country should focus on the benefits, and if there are any successful benefits, then those should be taxed instead. And moving on, after the close of trade on Friday, the equities capitalization stood at over 12 trillion naira margin, with MTNN leading the list of top gainers.
The all-share index was down by 0.03% to close at 26,448.62. Total deals recorded was 2,725, with an equity capitalization of 12.875 trillion naira. On the list of top gainers was MTNN, which closed at a share price value of 130 naira per share, while Custodian closed at a share price value of 6 naira 20 kobo per share. Leading the list of top decliners was PZ, which dropped to a share price value of 5 naira 55 kobo per share, while Vitafoam dropped to a share price value of 3 naira 52 kobo per share. On the list of top trades was Guarantee, with a volume of 75.216 million shares traded at a value of 1.981 billion naira. On sectorial indices, NSE Insurance was up by 0.41%, NSE Oil and Gas was up by 0.29%, NSE Banking was down by 0.94%, NSE Consumer Goods was down by 0.15%, and NSE Industrial was down by 0.25%. And according to the Lagos parallel market, the naira traded to $1, buying at 358 naira to $1 and selling at 360 naira to $1. The naira bought at 450 naira to a pound and sold at 455 naira to a pound. The naira also bought at 390 naira to a euro and traded at 397 naira to a euro.
And that's all on business news at this hour. Still ahead on Plus TV Africa is our roundup of sports. Do stay with us.
First point of accountability is asking questions.
Hello and welcome to Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko.
Hi everyone, welcome to Plus Training.
You cannot continue to recycle poverty while you're spending a lot of money on unproductive ventures.
The government has to feel the impact.
Honorable Commissioner, sir, welcome to the show.
Liverpool defender Joel Matip signed a long-term contract extension with the Premier League leaders on Friday. Matip's existing deal was due to expire at the end of this season, but the former Cameroonian international has now committed his future to Jurgen Klopp's side. Liverpool didn't reveal the length of Matip's new contract, but media reports said the centre-back would now be tied to Anfield until 2024. It's a great feeling to be longer part of the club. When you are inside, then you really get a feeling of how big the club is, Matip told Liverpool's website. He joined Liverpool on a free transfer from German club in 2016. The 28-year-old has established himself as Virgil van Dijk's partner at the heart of Liverpool's defence, holding off competition from Joe Gomez and Dejan Lovren. And that's our news roundup of events at this hour. For more news updates, please follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel that is also at Plus TV Africa. We'll be back later with more stories making the headlines. Please join us again. Thank you for watching.
Welcome to One-on-One on Plus TV Africa. My guest today is Paul Orajiaka. Paul Orajiaka is the founder of All Done Toys, an African-themed toy company valued at over $10 million.
Thank you for joining me in the studio.
Thank you for having me.
How did this all come about? Was it that you had a lot of toys surrounding you while you were growing up, or what exactly happened?
Well, funny enough, my dad is an artist. I grew up in an art family, and my dad was always engaging us in his workshop to do craft work. So, and growing up, my dad didn't want to spoil us, so he didn't give us toys, not because of affordability, but because of his word principle of us working hard and affording things for ourselves. So basically, I didn't grow up with toys, and then when I got the chance to get into toys, I got fascinated.
So there was no Batman, Spider-Man?
Absolutely nothing. All he had in my dad's craft shop was carving the hunter man, the elephant, the fruits and stuff like that. We're actually making money from a very young age because my dad introduced us to those kind of entrepreneurial journey where we had to produce things over the weekends.
Okay.
And then during the long holidays, we were in his workshops, and then we had like a small shelf in his showroom where these things were being sold. And at the end of the school year, when we come back for holidays, there's an account where my dad takes some percentage, my mom takes some, and then we, the young guys, me and my brother, we take our own percentage. And at a very young age, we had our accounts whereby we could actually deposit, but we couldn't withdraw without my dad countersigning because we're actually underage. So this was actually what I grew up knowing, all about craft, arts, and that kind of family I come from, known as Oragis Craft Limited.
All right, so did you already have an idea of the fact that you were going to start making toys, African toys at the time, or it just happened over time? Or
absolutely, it's more like an accident, because remember, coming to Lagos was more like to travel overseas. I was supposed to go to Fort Valley State College. I came to the embassy with a couple of my friends. Everybody got admitted with a visa, and then but only me was refused the visa. So staying back in Lagos, not wanting to go back to Warri because I grew up in Warri. People call me Wafi boy. So the whole idea is that I didn't want to go back. I had to pitch and stay with my in-law, who was actually in Idumota importing, and that was actually the first time I got into Idumota and seeing the kind of level of trade and a lot of my Igbo brothers making a lot of money. It was like, wow, if I stay here long enough, work hard enough, I'll probably be like this boy. So that was more like an inspiration that actually enabled me settle. And in the course of being in Idumota, I love to hustle. So that restless spirit made me connect to venture into other things, and that was how I started getting some things from friends who were in London and taking them to supermarkets around VI, like Park and Shop and the rest. And that was how, in every of these business visits, there's a lot of time to process your LPOs. So I always go to the toy shelf to like just feed my eyes and wow, like look at this toy, it does like this skates, this like this. So I fell in love with this shelf. So I was always using this shelf to pass time. And at the time, the shelf that used to be so robust started going very scanty. Apparently, for some reason, maybe the importer or maybe the supplier was no longer bringing in stock. So I just went to Deepak, the manager, and I said, Deepak, hey, guy, I can actually give you some toys. And I made this commitment, not even knowing where toys were being sold in Idumota. But you see, as an entrepreneur, you have to understand those.
There's a certain mindset to carry along with
those
you.
Opportunities, conception. When you see an opportunity, you quickly grab it. So like, it just registered that this was an avenue to expand what I was actually doing with them currently. And when I go back to my in-laws office, I start asking my colleagues, come on, where in Idumota do they sell toys? And that was how this whole journey about toy became from something you, like in Nigerian parlance, play, became to something big.
So at that point, the whole thought of wanting to travel to America right after high school had gone. At this point, do you have any regrets not traveling when your mates were traveling?
What?
Because you know how it feels when, like he said, this sounds like Ali Baba's story, where he said that he himself, and I think there was one story about 24 people going in for a job, 23 were picked, only him was not picked.
Yep.
You and your friends went for visa and then they all got, you didn't get. So was there a point where you said to yourself, I think I'm better off not being given the visa at the time?
Well, it all depends, because if you see, as a young boy, I didn't know what tomorrow had for me. You know, sometimes they say you plan the future, but the future does not necessarily follow the plan. So I had a plan of actually being in the US, but for some reason, maybe God felt there was a better opportunity for me to start off something in an environment I was not used to. So the whole idea was that absolutely there was no regret, because going into Idumota and being inspired by the young guys and the level of trade I was seeing at a young age, I was barely 17. So like, come on, these guys, I have to work. And surprisingly, my brother-in-law was such a very wonderful fellow who actually allowed me to get commission for all the hustles I was doing with this business. And at the time, I had so much money as a young boy, and I completely lost interest in education. It might interest you to know that I actually went into a university where my mates were graduating. So the whole idea was that at least I had 4 years in the Idumota, 4 or 5 years in the Idumota, trading, learning the street. And that's why I always tell people my first degree was actually UI. And people would tell me, oh, University of Ibadan. I said, no, come on, this is University of Idumota. so that's the whole idea about how the dream all started. So, and then you could see, starting off with Idumota, I completely lost interest in going to school because it was like that Igbo mindset of making money and just being rich. But I had an uncle, Uriah Chukudum, who was such a wonderful fellow, and he said, come on, Paul, I see you doing well, but you had a fantastic WAEC. Why would you be in Idumota trading? There are things you should decide. Choose between two things. Do you want to be a wealthy man or do you want to be a quality man? Any fool can make money and be wealthy, but not every fool can lead a quality life. So you need to go back to school. These experiences, these skills, this knowledge you learn from school, they help you grow those business opportunities and open up greater windows for you. And because he was such an uncle I revered and respected so much, I took his advice, and that was how the story of Unilag came about, where I graduated with in accounting, and then went on to do my master's in management in Unilag, went on to Lagos Business School to do my MBA, and the whole list continued until we landed in Harvard to do our master's in public admin. So you could see a young boy who came into Lagos to go to a school, like a third-tier university in America, Fort Valley State College, only ended up going to one of the best schools in the world. So this is some of the stories that we look at, and I said, well, God probably prepared us for something, and that's why it didn't work out at that point in time.
Sometimes we just need to relax, don't you think?
Absolutely, and let the will of God take control.
And then in terms of you having garnered all of these experiences from a place like Idumota, it's not the most structured, if I would put it in that light.
Yeah.
So how were you able to put in a good level of structure in your business when you started?
Well, good enough. When you come to Idumota, you see the level of chaos around the place. But like you see, we actually learned the rope. We started from very small. Remember, I would just come and buy toys and take to supply.
Yes.
And then at a point, I needed to start selling even in the local market, because those I was buying from at the time I started going to Dubai, I was barely like 19, making my first trip. And then coming to Idumota with my wares, after supplying, I would go back to those guys who were selling to me and start selling some of my leftover stock after I must have supplied the big stores in Via, Nikoi, and Apapa and the rest back then. So, but the point is this, I decided to get into the market myself, because those whom I was supplying in the local market were not giving me the level of reciprocity that I was actually getting from them when I was dealing with them. So what I did was, I went on, got a very small counter. So when you come to Idumota, the spaces are very shook and you have to pay a lot of money. So from the small counter, we kept focus. I didn't have the money to pay for staff, so I had to bring my sisters or my brothers, whoever was available was helping me. And then from the counter, we got into a half shop, and this kind of half shop we're talking about is something that is so small that when you range, you have to be on top of your decks, because everywhere is flooded right into the store, into the shop. So, but with the dream, I saw that over time we continue to scale. Then we got a full shop, and today we're sitting in a fourth floor plaza where people come, you buy things. It's as if you're in a mall, and it's all wholesale. So for me, we started off with Idumota in a very small level, and we built the structure over time. And mind you, at the time we were also trying to scale up, the banks didn't believe in us. These are some of the challenges entrepreneurs face in the country. And these are some of the reasons why I'm actually a doctoral student at Henley Business School. Okay. And my focus is on entrepreneurial orientation of SMEs and how the environmental factors affect their performance. Because you see, SMEs run every nation. But in Nigeria, they seem to have been neglected. When you come into our store today, you see the quality of employees we have. You see the quality of people working there, and you understand that we're doing something great.
Why do you think that banks do not, would I say, believe in SMEs when they approach them at the first instance? Because in most cases, you realize that those SMEs that the banks probably were not willing to give loans to because of the high interest rates, right? They end up doing very well.
Absolutely. We are a living example of that. And I will tell you something, after we've hustled and built this structure, we became the beautiful bride. And every bank wanted to bank us. But at the time we were trying to give them and convey the dream to them and tell them, listen, we have this. And then they come and they look at our business and they say the guy is sitting in a very small shop and they say, oh, you're not structured. And funny enough, the company they said was not structured actually been reorganized by KPMG. They are our strategic growth partners. You understand? But you need to give the child the time to mature into what you want them to be. You don't expect the child to actually run at a very young age. So what the problem these banks are missing is that they see the dog, but they don't see the side of the fight in the dog. You know, so there's a whole lot in us that there is this entrepreneurial spirit that makes us want to forge ahead despite all odds. But they couldn't see this thing. But in as much as that was the case, we never relented. We continued to forge ahead. And funny enough, today they are all coming. Rather than before we're seeking for them to give us money, right now we'll become money placers with these banks. So these are some of the things you see that it shouldn't be the case, because many entrepreneurs like me would have actually fallen by the wayside. And the irony is that when you see the level of funds that are going bad debts with these banks for these so-called big ticket businesses, you can imagine, and if you just take 1/10 of that money for SMEs, they could actually scale up their businesses. So it's just the irony of the kind of environment we're working in, and that's why my doctoral thesis is actually meant to address some of these challenges so that we can profile practical and theoretical solutions to the challenges SMEs face in such a complex country.
All right, we'll hold on with that thought right now. All right, we'll hold on for a quick break. You're still watching One on One on Plus TV Africa.
My leg represents my hand. God is a miracle worker, and nobody's useless. It's only when you want to make yourself a useless person. Painting is just like my voice. It gives me an assurance that I can still give back to society. I thought I'm not useful. I used to feel pity for myself, but not anymore, because God has given me the strength. There's this thing that keeps me going outside. If there's no challenges, there will not be testimony. I faced a lot. The first time in school, the principal said something that, why do they bring someone like her to school? That all she needs is just for you to put her somewhere to be eating until God says. God has shown me that despite my challenges, I can still go places by giving me the opportunity to show that there is ability in disability.
Premieres on Monday, 21st of October at 9:30 p.m. with repeats on Thursday at 9:30 p.m., Saturday 8:30 p.m. and Sunday 1:30 p.m.
Thank you for staying with us. I'm still speaking with Paul Orajiaka. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right then. Before we left off, we were talking about the challenges SMEs face in terms of acquiring loans from banks. Let me find out, how did you get your startup capital?
Well, funny enough, when you read some of our articles, they say we started with $100. That $100 was actually part of the 5,000 capital we set off to do our first business in Park and Shop. Funny enough, when I was working with my in-law, like I told you, I was actually getting stipends, monthly allowance, and I was also getting commission. So based on those savings, so I started supplying those things that my friends were bringing in from London. So at that point, we built this money, and our very first capital was actually that 5,000, and the invoice is still standing in our office as part of the symbol of the foundation for this capital we're actually working on now. So we actually grew organically, growing this. Even, you know, one interesting thing, the first time I had the first order in Park and Shop where I made 18,000, when I got the check, it was a total of about 36,000. I came up, looked at the heaven, read the check, 36,000. I danced. And that's why one of our very big team today is like the heaven saw the dance. It's like we danced out of joy. But over time, that same joy of 36,000, we're leaving those places with checks of about 1 million, 2 million, 10 million, just put them in your pocket, and then you just slide into your office. You know, so the whole idea is we appreciated something, and for some reason, there was a way the heavens saw the joy and he multiplied the efforts. So this was actually how we built our capital from scratch. And when we hit about 500,000, we felt we need to buy from the local market. And that was why we traveled to Dubai. And I set a goal for myself as a young boy, and I said to myself, my friends are in school studying. I'm not in school. But then I read something about Socrates Onassis. He said, by the time you're 21, you've not made $1 million. Forget it. You're not as good as making the grade. So for me, I use that as a benchmark. And I said, by the time I'm 21, I want to be a millionaire. And I tell you, just the way we set out our hearts to achieve this, at 21, we're already having so much. And we beat the mark, and we beat it pretty well. So that was how the whole thing continued to transcend into bigger
multiple millions.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Let's delve into the toys themselves. I see the lady dolls wearing very fantastic African apparel. Where are they sourced? Where are your materials sourced?
Well, the key thing would be, first we wanted to promote our culture. And then, because as a business, we were selling the white skin dolls, you know, the likes of the Barbies, and at the time we asked ourselves.
I had Barbie dolls when I was growing up.
Absolutely, but then you see, but the whole idea, when you see the new generation of Nigerian child now, they say my Aisha, my Amaka, my Runke, my Malaika. Want to hear this kind of stories, not my Barbie, you know, and all those names they give to them. So we wanted to actually bring this kind of value to the Nigerian child, to own dolls that look and represent who they really are.
That look like us.
Absolutely, not those dolls that actually have unrealistic figures manufactured somewhere from one mold in China. So that was how the whole concept of the doll came about. And then when we started this whole concept, we brought the whole thing all fully packaged from China. Because we wanted to introduce this thing for the first time. And when we got the response from the Nigerians, we were absolutely amazed. And the whole idea was to gradually get this into the full local production. So right now, I'm glad to say that our dolls, the clothes are being made by Friends of the Disabled. These are girls on wheelchair who have skills for tailoring. We give them a lot of this material. We sign MOUs with them. These girls are making income while making the clothes for the dolls. They also make the beads and stuff like that. Right now, as I can tell you, only the dolls come from China. Naked, no other thing comes in. All the printing, all the clothes.
Can't that be done here in Nigeria? What are the restrictions?
It's actually a gradual process, because the whole idea is that we just can't get it all at once. Remember, we brought this in all fully boxed. Right now, they come in knockdown parts, flat packs, so everything is being assembled locally. So, and at the time, we just had an MOU with Policy Toys in Belarus. The whole idea is to start bringing in machineries to actually get these dolls manufactured
here in
locally. Absolutely. Okay. It's amazing where you're an Igbo child and then you have Aisha. Remember, when you look at these dolls, they have booklets in them whereby there are distinctives about every particular tribe that are in these booklets. So the child start getting a feel of what other tribes look like. You understand? Yes. From there, and we also have some very simple local language imprinted on the booklet, so that actually they could actually pick some few local dialects, and you know the way the Nigerian child and after begin to lose their mother tongue because everybody is trying to be more.
They want to be more Western than everything else.
So these are the things we want to do. So we are so intrigued about the kind of value we're bringing. For us, it is principle. Chase the value and then the money will come after you. But when you chase the money, the value disappears and then everything goes bonkers. So this is some of the reasons why we're so happy with what we're doing with the dolls, the kind of employment we're creating, the local women making these dolls. These are women who, like the lead person, the lead local woman. This is a lady who came crying that her husband had left her with another woman with 4 kids. And then she's been having one issue or the other. And I said, come on, you're a tailor. Come, we'll sign you up into the program for Unity Doll Empowerment Program. And then start making this thing. And you know the funny thing, when she initially started, her friends were like laughing at her. Come on, how come you are sewing clothes for baby? You know, so that was the kind of language and response she was getting. But at the end of it all our friends have joined her, because as I speak to you, the woman has probably made over $30,000 worth of clothes for the dolls. Whatever is going to South Africa, going all over Africa, she also has her own materials in them. The Friends of the Disabled are doing it. And also, the graduate apprentice students of the Lagos State and College students are actually making this close. We signed up 40,000 units of the doors with them, with the executive secretary. And there are no jobs in Nigeria. So these girls signed up for the graduate apprentice program of this technical college to learn skills. And when you learn these skills and you don't have the kind of jobs or the kind of commitment to enable you practicalize these things, so that is where our impact is beginning to get a lot of values. And we have this business model whereby we say we want to harness people who want to make good with their purchase. That's why every unit of our door, some price of our doors is set aside, some amount is set aside for social work.
Fantastic.
If you look at some of the schools we've renovated, like Salvation Army Primary and Nursery School, Ibobo, Ikorodu, these are rundown schools. You wonder how kids are learning in such an environment.
I like how everything just narrows down to the society. It feels like there's the mindset of how to help society in terms of unity and diversity, helping create jobs. How is the government helping with your initiative?
Well, absolutely. We've never even looked at the government. We're not even bothered because it's hard to say.
Has the government approached you at all?
Not really. I would say the Lagos State government only recognized our impact. So they gave us an award for support our school initiative, and at least they were happy with what we've been doing with the Lagos State, in Lagos State in terms of the technical college students, the schools we renovated in Ikorodu, and some of the impact we're making. So yes, fine, they recognize the achievements and the impact we're making, but in terms of support, we're not even looking at that because actually government can do it all. So it's every individual. If people continue to do one or two things like this, we'll have a better society. We can't leave it all to the government. It's very complex.
Exactly.
So that's why we're not bothered. Just to let you know, in Idumota, we're more like our own local government because we have to provide our own lights, our own roads, our own, literally everything we do on our own. So you wait for the government, literally you wouldn't be able to function. So
how frequently do you still visit Idumota?
Certainly, I just came from Idumota. Of course, I stay in Idumota every day. That's the head office. That's where it's happening. And then for us, you remember, it's the commercial nerve center. The level of trade going in Idumota it's only those who don't know would underestimate that value and the level of trade that's happening in Idumota.
Thank you so much. That's all we can have at this point, but thank you for joining me in the studio.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and well done on your job.
Thank you so much.
All right, then, and that's all we can have at this hour on Plus TV Africa on One-on-One. Do stay with us, and for more informative content of this nature, do follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, all on Plus TV Africa. I remain your host, Irene Ubani. Bye.
Today we are back again in the slum of Ajegunle, where we bring you incredible stories. First of all, when we hear about the slum, we think of places where people live in abject poverty, dirty areas, and people in deplorable condition. And for the most part, that's what the situation is everywhere in the world, in Africa and even in Nigeria. But today we're bringing you a story of this place. Here in the school, Moritz International, where school fees are being paid with PET bottles, such as the ones I have in my hand.
We don't want any excuses for not paying your child's school fees. Your child must come to school. So we came up with this initiative. And these are plastic bottles that we've collected, and more will still come to the school. These are the plastic bottles. We collect cartons too, paper, cans, aluminium cans, carton, even pure water sachet. That's a bag of pure water sachet over there. So we exchange this for school fees because I want to see, I have the passion to see that these children learn well. We use British curriculum in the school. That is why it is called an international school. So we want these children in the slum that are less privileged, sort of, from low-income families, to enjoy education that the elites enjoy in the society too.
We are here today because we have a project we're running in partnership with the Moritz International School, and that is the Recycle Space educational project. It's a project because it's something we want to do for the community, it's something we want to do for human lives. And the beauty about the Recycle Space project is the parents are involved, the environment is involved, the school is involved, the recycling firm is involved, and everyone has a way of trying to connect with the whole idea. And so for us, we kickstarted this project sometime last year because we came about a report that was, I think, released by the World Economic Forum that said in a few years time to come, in the ocean, you're going to find more plastics than fishes. And that means that we need to start thinking of what we can do with the plastics, something productive, so that we don't end up having more plastics in the ocean than the fishes. And also, we also came about a report that was conducted by UNICEF that said that Nigeria is currently #1 when it comes to the numbers of children that are out of school in the world. That figure is alarming.
Our school fees from play group to nursery 2 is 4,000 naira. Then our basic 1 to basic 6 is 5,000 naira. Termly.
So what are your thoughts on what you people are doing? The fact that you're collecting plastic bottles and sachets for school fees?
Looking at our streets today, it's very dirty and you see plastic waste everywhere. Then we think of, okay, why not we ask the parents to be part of it? Picking plastic, we call the ACI to pick it up and wait, talk about the kilo to pay their school fees.
Sometimes I go pick them, I will go sell, I will bring and call me and my mom, we use and manage because things was hard. Things they very, very critical. Nobody, no helper, my myself, now only me and my mom. So they knock hand to hand to take. Even the children, papa self has since come like say they bother them say una pikin una this thing. I say okay, at least they say single mother they take care of him pikin. Anyhow, one fit take even anything one fit do, man take care of my pikin at least before uncle come bring the pay. And true when he bring the pay bottle, it was okay. I was very, very happy because he relieved me for some kind of things, many things. Thinking of my pikin school fees, I wonder, my pikin books, I wonder. He relieved me many, many things because uncle self through the pay bottle self, himself assists me. Picking the pay bottles, I will advise a lot of people. I will tell them say he pay because if he no pay me, I no go do am, which I still dey do until now.
Children of Moritz International School knows about recycling well. Imagine if everybody is picking these things around them. We'll have less waste around, and this program is a sustainable program. So you imagine this in the drainage to cause flooding. We've helped the earth, we've helped their environment. In fact, Mother Earth is happy with the school and what we are doing.
On Top Plus TV Africa News inside this hour, Kogi Deputy Governor Simon Achuba don't collect impeach from members of State House of Assembly. Sudanese government rebel group don't agree, say no agenda for peace talk to take end political crisis. Plus, for the foreign scene, Mexico Presido, they defend to free drug kingpin Joaquin El Chapo Guzman's son after arrest. My country people, you do well say you join us inside the news for this hour for Plus TV Africa. This one at the Tory them with the summer given on top of this very o'clock. My name is Destiny Momo. President Muhammadu Buhari during by Friday received the report for the Presidential Advisory Committee for the Eliminate for Drug Abuse inside Presidential Villa, Abuja. The advisory committee where President arranged during by December 11, 2018, they chaired by one former military administrator for Lagos State, retired Brigadier General Buba Marwa. Other members for the committee include of the wife of the Presido plus Vice Presido Hajia Aisha Buhari plus Dolakbo Osinbajo. The committee they saddled with the responsibility to take work towards to reduce the level for drug abuse inside the country. Marwa inside January during by one official visit to Minister for the Federal Capital Territory FCT, Musa Bello, bore in mind say over 14 million people inside the country they abuse drugs like a full-time work. The Kogi State House of Assembly don't impeach the embattled Deputy Governor Simon Achuba in impeachment na sake of the submission which shall earlier in the day for the report for the committee where they set up by the State Chief Judge Justice Nadir Ajana to investigate one alleged for gross misconduct against the former Deputy Governor. Leader of the House, Hassan Bello Abdullahi, where they represent Ajakuta State constituency, we announced the decide for the House, say Achuba go collect impeach after careful considerate for the report for the John Bayeshia committee where them submit earlier on top of Friday. He said the report don't receive study plus deliberate upon one unanimous decide we reach to impeach Achuba plus them don't already impeach him. The 7-man committee with John Bayeshia, the head, submit the report to the Speaker, Kogi State House of Assembly, Matthew Kolawole, on top of Friday, inside brief ceremony, after the House go enter inside closed door session, where the reports can enter, consider plus deliberate matter. The committee been shelled during by August the sake of allegations for gross misconduct with they against the deputy governor when he accused Governor Yahaya Bello for saying him withhold him salaries plus interest since by the time of 2017. This na allegate where government denied during by hearing for inside the committee. The police on top Friday scatter procession for Islamic movement for Nigerian members around Wuse Market inside Abuja. The policeman fired tear gas, canister plus gunshots inside air. This matter can force the Shite plus passerby to scamper for safety. The IMN procession will start on top Sultan Abubakar Road sharply kaput after the police action. The Shite plan to hold one nationwide process on top Saturday inside commemoration for their annual Abin Shrek, where they spark fear for another confrontate with the security operatives. Abena Shita annual religious practice where they always conduct during by 20th Safar for Islamic calendar to take mark the 40th day for the murder for Imam Hussein, the grandson for Prophet Muhammad, where them killed during by 10th Muharram. The troop them for the Nigerian Army where they attach the Joint Tactical Team don't collect arrests given Islamic State for West African Province Logistics Supplier plus Korea Usmania inside the Gubbio area for inside Borno State during by one operation. The Army yarn say preliminary investigate go show Yaje we be Chadian been they linked plus maintain yarns with 3 ISWAP commanders will be Goni Jare, Abdul Kaka Plus, Modu Solom. According by one release where the Army Operation Media Coordinator called Aminu Liasu, the troop arrest one Boko Haram insurgent logistics supplier where them called Alaji Lawan will be alias Kafinol from Meina Hari area. The military notes say all the suspects they make useful confession to take interrogate Ilyasu say troops where them deploy for Gubbio will successfully dodge Boko Haram attack inside their location plus them neutralize one Boko Haram criminal where them recover one AK-47 rifle from, one magazine, one very high frequency radio plus one mobile phone syringe and injection during by one mop-up operation. Police don't bust another rehabilitation center on Monday, October 4, 2019 inside Daura, Katsina State, where inmates they subject to badness treatment. The owner will get the center plus 2 others collect arrest. The Katsina Police Command on top Friday say all the 67 inmates where them get for the Daura Rehabilitation Center plus those where them find for Niger Rehabilitate plus Reformation Center, Kofa Durbi Quarters, Katsina don't reunite with their families. The spokesman for the command, SP Gambons Issa, make the clarificates sake of inquiry on top of the fate for the inmates. Investigate for Dara plus Katsina Rehabilitate Center still show plenty activities there. The House of Representatives Committee on Top Power on Friday queried the 2019 budget performance for the National Electricity Management Services Agency, NEMSA, plus them sharply withhold discourse on top the agency 2020 budget small. But the chairman for the committee, Rep. Magaji Aliyu APC Jigawa, he give NEMSA 8 hours to make necessary correct inside the budget, plus reappear before him around 7:30 p.m. This is sake of one unanimous adopt for one motion where Rep. Wale Raji APC Lagos for the budget defense session for the committee. The chairman Yan said the agency 2020 budget will get plenty mistake and it dey good like copy and paste documents. He frowned for the overhead item where him say then list as capital expenditure item inside the budget. Peter Eweso, will be the managing director for NEMSA, apologized for the error, plus him promised to correct them and reappear before the committee. Social media activist Segun Awosonya, aka Shega Link, he don't reject the advice for the Economic plus Financial Crime Commission to write one petition against All Progressive Congress leader Bola Tinubu. Shega Link will be the leader for the End SARS movement to say the EFCC no need him to write any petition against Tinubu before him go after the APC leader. The activist claims say EFCC don't they go after internet fraudsters, plus then they raid the 9th club without any petition. It tweets say the EFCC inside their primitive chest thumping about Section 7(1) for their Establishment Act for 2004 forget to say then get the same power as them take get for others for Tinubu to act based on probable case. Why then they expect petite from us? The EFCC plus Shega Link don't they engage inside the war of words on top Thursday after the EFCC boast for Twitter say they get the power to investigate anybody where they like above their means. Shega Link don't already dare the commission to probe Tinubu. As the rain they continue to fall inside Lagos, it don't leave many people where they use the road and neighborhood with the flood as all the gutter don't block finish inside the state. Irene Ubani enter street summer us this report. Wella.
In the past weeks, Lagos has experienced recurrent rainfall, causing a high level of inconvenience for commuters within the state.
Money DVI, they're not going to even carry money for pockets. I mean, they do or me they do gutter. We don't get gutter for years.
It's not today. Since 1999, year 2000, VI always be a waterlord because everything comes from the government. They will come, they will do contracts, and we will not see the usefulness. All the old drainage is blocked. They want to be doing contract 15 times in a year. So what we've been experiencing here, if God is not saving our life, maybe one day VI is going to crack.
Anytime rainfall like this, people are not okay. Even the people who are inside the vehicle, they find it difficult to move. Because of the flooding, it caused hold up, caused traffic on the road.
Residents in Lagos State were also not left out.
So gbogbo ibẹ̀ wa gbogbo nulẹ̀ wa kún gbogbo ìta wa kún gbogbo nǹkan tá ti ṣe lọ́jọ́ Saturday tamata ní Sunday Monday gbogbo ẹ̀ ló ti bàjẹ́ kalẹ̀ àwọn búrẹ́dì gan ti gbogbo ẹ̀ ti wà nínú omi àti ọjọ́ Saturday títí di èní yìí sin àti ìgẹ́ta la wà torí omi.
When the rain fell, the erosion come into my house and it almost carried my children away. So I rushed to my children. I carry one at my back. I owed that my girl.
Anytime this rain fall, everywhere is full. Even though anywhere can't sleep, anybody can't sleep inside the house, in our house, because rain they enter the house. You understand? So everybody they pack go out.
A food for thought, however, with this reoccurrence of flooding within the Victoria Island region and the island in general here in Lagos, can Lagos State withstand one full day of constant rainfall or 1 week of constant rainfall? What would be the fate of Lagos State if issues of this nature are not being resolved? For Plus TV Africa, Irene Ubani.
I read you too much for that report. The Mandela Washington Fellowship, one flagship program for the Young African Leaders Initiative, YALI, plus former United States President Barack Obama, don't train almost 4,000 young Africans since 2014 inside academic coursework plus leadership skill. The fellowship is shared inside one event to take honor the alumni for the 2019 edition. Our correspondent Adebanke Odunoye been there live.
According to the African Union, Africa has the youngest population in the world with more than 400 million people between the ages of 15 and 35. Such a large number of people, if properly educated, hold the capacity to revolutionize the African continent. In order to achieve this, the Mandela Washington Fellowship, a flagship program of the Young African Leaders Initiative, YALI, which was created in 2014 by the Barack Obama administration, trains Africans in academic coursework and leadership skills. An alumni event was held in order to educate the 2019 fellows.
The Mandela Washington Fellowship was designed by President Obama in 2014 to motivate, to build young leaders, people who have demonstrated a proven track record of leadership across their cohort. It was inspired by President Obama as a way of giving back to the African community. And we're having this program today, the reunion conference, as a way to inspire, to welcome back those who were part of the 2019 cohort and kind of reintegrate them back into their society.
Fellows of the 2019 edition revealed what inspired them to apply for the fellowship opportunity last year.
I saw it as a platform that could help me develop capacity to impact the country, to impact my generation.
I applied for the Mandela Washington Fellowship because I wanted to expand my network of learning to understand the current infrastructures that has been used in creating accessibility for persons with disabilities.
Insight on how the African youth could be better equipped for leadership roles was given by one of the alumni fellows.
Equipping our youth in Nigeria is actually two ways. The person also needs to want to be equipped, you understand? And then the government also has a role to play to create enabling space for the youth to thrive.
Adekpeju Jayoba, a 2014 fellow and winner of the 2019 Leadership Impact Award, gave advice to young Nigerians and also testified of the opportunities given to her due to the initiative.
I would say that, yes, talent is universal, but opportunity is not. But however, you can find opportunities through diligence. You can check online, Google. Mandela Washington Fellowship is always open every year. There are a couple of other fellowships that are also annual like that. And it's not a function of whether you have funds or not. The key is starting now with what you have. The MWF since 2014 has offered me incredible platform to be able to expand to other parts of Nigeria with the work that we do, to be able to semi-automate our processes, to be able to even walk into other platforms because of the credibility that the US government, has put in us by investing in us. So it's a growth platform, it's a connection platform, it's a huge networking platform.
The youth have been regarded as the hope of our fatherland. More efforts are therefore needed into properly educating our youth and preparing them for the responsibilities ahead of them. Reporting for Plus TV Africa, Adebanke Odunuyi.
Time don't reach to go sharp break. Stay tuned for more Tori when we return.
My leg represents my hand. God is a miracle worker, and nobody's just like, it's only when you want to make yourself a useless person. Painting is just like my voice. It gives me an assurance that I can still give back to society. I thought I'm not useful. I used to feel pity for myself, but not anyone, because God has given me the strength. There's this thing that keeps me going outside. If there's no challenges, there will not be testimony. I faced a lot. The first time in school, the principal did something that, why do they bring someone like her to school? That all she needs is just for you to put her somewhere to be eating until God says. God has shown me that despite my challenges, I can still go places by giving me the opportunity to show that there is ability in disability.
Premieres on Monday, 21st of October at 9:30 p.m. with repeats on Thursday at 9:30 p.m., Saturday 8:30 p.m. and Sunday 1:30 p.m.
The Sudanese government plus key rebel group don't agree on top agenda for peace talk to take end the country deep political crisis. Peace talk between the government plus the Sudan People Liberation Movement, not SPLMN faction, where General Abdel Aziz Hilu, the lead na rebel group inside Blue Nile plus South Kordofan State, opened this morning after them suspend them during by Wednesday. Inside press conference for Juba this afternoon, spokesman for the SPLMN negotiate team, Mahmoud Ahmed Al-Jak Yan, say the first direct engagement between both sides, they categorize the agenda for peace negotiate matter. Al-Jak don't reveal, say the party go discuss the declarates for principle on top of Saturday, say the position paper where then go discuss during by tomorrow go be the reason for the negotiate matter. Plenty women plus girls from Ivory Coast, they inside trafficking brigade to Northern Africa and plus Europe. The International Organization for Migration warned about this brigade during by Friday. Anti-trafficking team don't note one rise inside the number where they make the Mediterranean crossing, along with one rise inside plea for help for landing point inside Italy. IOM and YAN say inside one note to take a mark European Anti-Trafficking Day. The women plus girls, they destined to live slavery or prostitution life, according by Lawrence Hart, head of the Mediterranean Coordination Office. He said then they recruit plenty people inside their country with promise to give employment as maid or waitress and become victim of domestic servitude as then they reach Tunisia or Libya. Then they subject to sexual abuse, mistreatment, violence, plus deprivation for personal freedom. News where they come next, now our foreign news. A fifth day for protest plus general strike don't bring Barcelona to stop the now bound brigade for Catalan separatist leader, where they jail more than 10,000 demonstrators entered the city during by Friday. Then they stopped train plus block roads. Barcelona plus Real Madrid football team postponed one match where they're supposed to play during by 26 October. The famous rival been done, they've set to meet inside El Clasico, one hugely popular clash where they due to shell inside Barcelona Stadium. And Barcelona Sagrada Familia Church, one of the city's main tourist attracts, been they shut down after protesters blocked their entrance. Inside statements where they post on top of their official Twitter account, the church say one group for protesters been they stand for the entrance plus shook hand with access to inside the interior matter. Mexico Presido don't defend free drug kingpin Joaquin El Chapo Guzman's son soon, small time after in arrest when Ovidio Guzman Lopez been seized inside one house on top of George warrant inside the city for Culiacan cartel gunmen fight street battles with security force. At least 8 people don't die plus 21 get better wound plus motor them where they live to they born inside the street. President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, he said he decided to cancel the arrest, don't save life. Senior security official decided to release the president, say this inside one news conference. The official make this decide do very well as in take a talk. Up to like 62 people don't die plus doesn't get better wound the sake of bomb during by Friday prayer for mosque inside Afghanistan, according by provincial spokesman. The force from the blast inside eastern Nangarhar province destroyed the building roof. Eyewitness them. Now in talk this one. Nobody immediately claimed responsibility for the attack. The blast shelled the day after the UN said the number of civilian deaths inside the war country don't reach level way too big during by the summer. According by the UN, 1,174 civilians being died between July plus September. Now the baddest quarter since UN record started like 10 years ago. Story where they come next, now our business story. The managing director for the International Money Fund, Kristalina Georgieva, don't say need day for the federal government to check other places for the economy to reduce the problem we face the country. Georgieva explains that the level for economic growth for the country today slow to take a reduced poverty rate. She explains that Nigeria important for economic growth for Africa. She adds that this now why she they continue to advise for major improvement for physical space to get revenue, economic explore plus corruption. She still yarns that the IMF don't been talked to about 3 issues for Nigeria. One, now the question for fiscal capacity. She talks a tax collection level for Nigeria leave room for improvement. And if we no strengthen the fiscal position for government, the spend side go suffer. She said the IMF always recommend increase for tax revenue to take do gross domestic product to 15%. She said inside this level, government fit finance the program. After market close for the week trade, the equity capital stands for 2 trillion naira. MTN Nigeria can lead the list for top gainers queue inside the matter.
The all-share index was down by 0.03% to close at 26,448.62. Total deals recorded was 2,725 with an equity capitalization of 12.875 trillion naira. On the list of top gainers was MTNN, which closed at a share price value of 130 naira per share, while Custodian closed at a share price value of 6 naira 20 kobo per share. Leading the list of top decliners was PZ, which dropped to a share price value of 5 naira 55 kobo per share, while Vitafoam dropped to a share price value of 3 naira 52 kobo per share. On the list of top trades was Guarantee, with a volume of 75.216 million shares traded at a value of 1.981 billion naira. On sectorial indices, NSE Insurance was up by 0.41%, NSE Oil and Gas was up by 0.29%, NSE Banking was down by 0.94%, NSE Consumer Goods was down by 0.15%, and NSE Industrial was down by 0.25%. And according to the Lagos parallel market, the naira traded to $1, buying at 358 naira to $1 and selling at 360 naira to $1. The naira bought at 450 naira to a pound and sold at 455 naira to a pound. The naira also bought at 390 naira to a euro and traded at 397 naira to a euro.
Tori will see the come for front on Top Plus TV, the African news, and our roundup on top entertainment and sports news. We could bring them to you right after this break.
Seek their dream. Throb with desire. Joy welled up in their hearts. A brand new life adventure is about to begin. Create a life for someone new. Nigerians in China. On Star Times, Da Donkoa.
Inside entertainment, Britain singer Robbie Williams done the enter Ember Month Moon as he announced on Friday he won't release first ever Christmas album this holiday season. The Christmas present will get 2 Christmas past plus Christmas future disc, and you go release them on top of November 22. It go feature original songs and cover, including collabo with the likes of singers be Bryan Adams, Rod Stewart plus Jamie Cullum, and even boxer Tyson Fury plus Williams' father Peter Conway. According to the singer, they're really excited to announce this first ever Christmas album, plus as he released this record, now another dream come true for him. Now, so we'll take entertainment and the very best inside our sports. They come up right after this break. Liverpool defender Joel Matip don't sign one long-term deal extension with Premier League leader on top of Friday. Matip's deal where they exist before deal for expire as the season they end. But the former Cameroon player don't commit in future to coach Jurgen Klopp team. Liverpool no agree show the length for Matip new contract, but media reports say the centre-back go now they tied to Anfield until 2024. Matip joined Liverpool for free transfer from German club Schalke inside the 2016. And that now our news roundup for events we concern this very hour. For more news updates, I beg you follow us at Plus TV Africa on top of Facebook, Twitter, plus Instagram. And make you try subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We go come back with more Ogbonge stories where they make headlines. I beg you make you try join us. My name na Destiny Momo. Make you get a better night's rest.
On this episode, we are one-on-one with an elder statesman, an accomplished engineer, broadcaster, pastor, and a former Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority. The cost of running this government is really high.
Yes.
Is there anything that can be done right now to salvage the situation?
You want to cut perhaps the salary of the senators and people in the National Assembly. But then when you consider that you have 36 governors, you have state houses of assembly, it is quite a challenge. The Shure case, I think, is a bit touchy. I think once the court has made a pronouncement, we should abide by the rule of law. The sex for grade, which has now gone into the universities and all that, I think something has gone wrong all round, including the churches.
Premiering this Monday at 12:30 p.m. and repeat broadcast at 8:30 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
My leg represents my hand. God is a miracle worker, and nobody's useless. It's the only when you want to make yourself a useless person. Painting is just like my voice. It gives me an assurance that I can still give back to society. I thought I'm not useful. I used to feel pity for myself, but not anymore, because God has given me the strength. There's this thing that keeps me going outside. If there's no challenges, there will not be testimony. I faced a lot. The first time in school, the principal did something that, why do they bring someone like her to school? That all she needs is just for you to put her somewhere to be eating until God says. God has shown me that despite my challenges, I can still go places by giving me the opportunity to show that there is ability in disability.
Premieres on Monday, 21st of October at 9:30 p.m. with repeats on Thursday at 9:30 p.m., Saturday 8:30 p.m. and Sunday 1:30 p.m.
Have you heard of the brain hemispheres?
No.
What's that, brain hemispheres? Isn't this a football show? What's science got to do with it?
The ability of spatial perception lies more in the right hemisphere of the brain, which leads some scientists to the conclusion that lefties tend to be better at it.
Okay, does that mean Gladbach's success is down to Oscar Wendt's left foot? And are these guys only so good because they're left-footed? But wait, Gladbach's Marcus Thuram is right-footed and still works wonders. And of course, there's Dortmund's unstoppable Jadon Sancho, also a righty. Maybe that means Gladbach's success has more to do with tactics. And we'll need a more thorough explanation on the brain stuff from our reporter Konstantin.
It's complicated. What is clear is that they have a special gift on their left side.
We'll start off with left-footers and brain hemispheres.
What do Da Vinci, Mozart and Picasso have in common with Maradona, Rivaldo and Messi?
They're all geniuses. And they're all lefties.
Controlled by the right side of the brain.
They are special people. They are more creative. And more emotional. Just cliches?
You can't almost find a left-footed player who doesn't have some type of special touch.
Are lefties better footballers? You may say now, hey, I know just as many special right-footed players. And of course there are outstanding righties out there. No wonder when there are 9 or 10 of them on the pitch. But out of the 1 or 2 lefties on the pitch, proportionally more of them turn out to be special.
Liverpool's genius is left-footed. Barca's most brilliant too. Same for Man City's magicians. And the most wanted Bundesliga player is also a lefty.
Why is that? Is it greater dedication, better concentration, or do they have a different perception of the pitch? Let me start with music.
Jimi Hendrix was and maybe still is the best guitar player that ever lived. He restrung his guitar to be able to play it with his left hand. Phil Collins constructed a special drum kit so he could hit the bass drum with his left foot. Kurt Cobain also played with his left hand.
But why am I telling you all this? The world is made for right-handed and right-footed people.
Instruments, pans, doors, vending machines, cars.
Left is bad. In most religious pictures, the good people are on the right side, the evil on the left.
Women who crossed themselves with their left hand were burned as witches. In the Japanese Empire, men were allowed to divorce their wife if they found out she was left-handed.
But are left-handed and left-footed the same?
Some scientists say that if left-handed children can develop optimally, they will also be left-eyed, left-eared and left-footed. Why some left-footed players are right-handed is hard to say. Maybe they are retrained, even just subtly by copying their right-handed parents' writing. Maybe they eat or throw with their left hand. Handedness is rarely 100% clearly defined.
It's complicated. What is clear is that they have a special gift on their left side. And that makes them part of a minority.
Only 10 to 20% of our society are left-handed or left-footed.
In football, it's about the same. 10 to 20% of the players are left-footed. That